All right, Lewis, this is disgusting. An extreme anti-Israeli on-campus group that we've discussed before, called Students for Justice in Palestine, has linked the Dallas shootings that left 5 police officers dead and the shootings of black people by police more generally to Israel. To Israel. There are so many important angles and elements to talk about the Dallas shooting: racism, hate crimes, black lives, political extremism, guns, gun safety, American culture of violence, PTSD, on and on and on. But is Israel the real lens through which we should analyze the Dallas shooting? No, this is shameful and embarrassing. And when all you have, Lewis, as I like to say, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And when you are focused on demonizing Israel at any opportunity, every news event looks like an opportunity to criticize Israel. And that is exactly what this Facebook post from the NYU chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine did, saying, in the past 48 hours, another 2 black men have been lynched by the police. The total number of black people lynched by cops in 2016 now totals 136. We must remember that many U.S. police departments train with the Israeli Defense Forces. The same forces behind the genocide of black people in America are behind the genocide of Palestinians. What this means is that Palestinians must stand with our black comrades. We must struggle for their liberation. It is as important as our own. Alton Sterling is as important as Ali Dawabsheh. Palestinian liberation and black liberation go together. We must recognize this and commit to building for it. Do you recognize the sick irony of this ridiculous Facebook post? They are attempting to criticize racism in the United States by blaming Jews in the Middle East for police shootings. Here's the real danger of this, and I know people will write to me and say, okay, David, fine, Jews aren't specifically responsible for these shootings, but Palestinian liberation is directly related to the anger in the U.S. about police officers, which led to Philando Castile and all of these other shootings. No, 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 no. If you were wanting to have a real conversation about U.S. police violence, be it racially motivated or motivated by power-hungry police or disregard for the law or whatever, if you want real effective conversations about dealing with police violence, you're short-circuiting it by making Israeli foreign policy and Jews in the Middle East the focus. You're proactively hurting the cause you claim to support. And to provide some context, this is not NYU SJP's first humiliating attempt to link Israel to anything under the sun. Late last year, they signed on to a statement that linked high tuition costs at a City College of New York school to the school's supposedly Zionist administration. This is vile, shameful, but most importantly, Lewis, it is counterproductive if your goal is to address bias in policing in the United States.
Mm-hmm. This is, I don't feel I really need to say much about it. I would be embarrassed and quite alarmed if I were working for NYU, if I were a member of whatever board they have that has to deal with stuff like this.
Well, sadly, many of those people probably like the message.
There has to be a line, even for those people. And if this doesn't cross it, what will?
This is problematic with regard to the specific incident, but it's problematic bigger picture also because the Black Lives Matter movement more broadly has made anti-Israeli statements, recently retweeting an article posing Black Lives Matter as supporting the dark-skinned Palestinians over the white supremacist Israeli Jews. This is sickening and destructive, particularly when you consider that Jews and American blacks have this long history of working together for non-discrimination against black people. And these attempts are some of the lowest of the low to drive a wedge between two groups with a very long history of working together that long predates Black Lives Matter. These people, by and large, have no idea about the historical realities of the situation. You know about Mississippi burning, right? This infamous, world-famous case of 3 civil rights workers that were murdered working for racial equality in Mississippi in 1964. Yeah, one was a black guy, and the other 2 were Jews. These are the white supremacist Jews, the Ashkenazi white supremacist Jews that in Israel are doing every bad thing and causing and related to shootings of black people in the U.S. these are the same people that we're talking about that have a decade old history of working together. It's disgusting, and there should be no place for this, particularly in academia. Sadly, that's not the reality.